Xbox is fully committed to backwards compatibility. We got that information the other day from Sarah Bond. We have more information about Call of Duty Black Ops 7, just how futuristic will this game be. Lots of info here on Crimson Desert, which looks phenomenal. Also, an update on the release date. And a major acquisition could be happening between Sony and WB. So we will take a look at all of that. But before we do get into it, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share, all of that stuff helps get the channel out there, helps get more people to check out the video. So I do appreciate it. But for now, let's jump into it. So the next generation of Xbox is happening. We all know this now. It is official. Everything is going to be coming out. We're going to have hardware, handhelds, at-home consoles. All of this stuff is coming within the Xbox ecosystem, but the Xbox ecosystem is going to be expanding out, and it sounds extremely exciting based on what they are saying that they are going to be doing. Some of the stuff that Sarah Bond did talk about. Well, one of the things that a lot of people have been waiting to hear more about has been the backwards compatibility, game preservation. How are they going to give you access to the entire Xbox library if they are basically unifying now everything into one ecosystem? Windows, Xbox, PC, console, all of these things within one. Are you going to be able to play all of your console games that you've purchased throughout the multiple generations that you can access right now via the Xbox Series X and S? Are you going to be able to play these going forward on the next Xbox and in the Xbox ecosystem in various different ways? Backwards compatibility, I think Xbox at the beginning of this generation, or even going back to the Xbox One X, really kicked things off, and I would say put the industry further into gear to make sure that you can still play all of your older games. Yes, in terms of the right now physical games and everything, those are going away, and I think Xbox actually leading the charge of getting people to go fully digital. There's lots of debates we could get into on that as to, does it even matter with physical anymore with the amount of data that is on discs and the amount of data that's on cartridges? You're even seeing Nintendo move away with their game key cards and everything, but that would be a topic for a different day. But Xbox is definitely making more commitments to backwards compatibility, a big commitment here, as Sarah Bond really highlighted this with her speech in the video that she did put out the other day. And this has me excited. This has me very happy to see that they are not shying away from this, and that they are going to potentially, what's what it sounds like, have a solution to give you access to everything. She says this: together with AMD, we're advancing the state of art in gaming silicon to deliver the next generation of graphics innovation to unlock a deeper level of visual quality and immersive gameplay and player experiences enhanced with the power of AI, all while maintaining compatibility with your existing library of Xbox games. And that statement, that sentence right there, if you take it for face value, and of course things can change and plans end up changing all the time. We've seen it happen at Xbox, we've seen it happen at other companies. It would tell me that your current library of Xbox games includes everything you own right now on your Xbox Series X and S, whether that's an OG Xbox game, a 360, an Xbox One, or Xbox Series X or S game. So that to me is great. They started off this generation with the backwards compatibility program. I thought it was great what they were bringing with like the HDR, the auto HDR stuff, the FPS boost that they were bringing into games that didn't have them natively put in by the developer. That stuff was great. But then they stopped the program. And a lot of this had to do with licensing. They realized that they just weren't able to put enough resources into making more games come to backwards compatibility. I hope this is something that they are working on here, where they can kind of get around all of that stuff, all of the manpower that would be needed to get these games running on these current consoles, whether that's emulation or something. And they give an option that if you want to pick up and play an Xbox 360 game that you do own on the upcoming Xbox, they'll find ways to do that. Or if you want to pick up an OG Xbox game, they'll find other ways to do that as well. The other question I will have, of course, is physical versions of those games. Will they be selling a disc drive for you to be able to attach to the next gen and be able to play the physical collection that you do have if you want to do it that way? So that will be all stuff that will be answered, of course, in the coming months and years and stuff whenever they do end up deciding to launch this next generation of Xbox. But it's official, it's coming. And now we're hopefully going to be getting streams of information about what we can fully expect here as we do move forward through 2025, 2026, and beyond. One game that will always be available to play is going to be Call of Duty, as it is basically always the top selling game every single year. We know Black Ops 7 is the next one, as that was shown off at the Xbox showcase. And one of the things with Black Ops is they've gone futuristic and everything, but it looks like for Black Ops 7, they're not going to be going super duper futuristic. This has been confirmed here by Activision, and at least here in the terms of player movements. We have this here for Modern Warzone saying Activision has confirmed that there will not be any jetpacks or wall jump running in Black Ops 7. Leaks still say it will feature wall jumping. And it continues on here where the quote from Activision themselves saying, I can confirm no wall running, no jetpacks, but it will feature an evolution of Omni movement. So they're kind of playing it safe in terms of what they're doing with the next one. I think Black Ops 6 was a big success. A lot of people liked Omni movement. It was a nice addition. I mean, I did. So there may be people that hated it, but I enjoyed it. And they're kind of just, I think, sticking with that, and they're going to refine it and make it better and not do a crazy jump that we have seen Call of Duty do in the past that wasn't fully successful, like when they jumped to the more futuristic and then you had people wanting to go back to boots on the ground. And then they've, after that, for a while, they wanted Call of Duty to go back to being futuristic, but they haven't gone as crazy in the future as we have seen in the past. So they're kind of playing it safe here, I would say, Black Ops 7, which is fine because Black Ops 6 was great. The campaign was great. The multiplayer is fun. So give more and give a new campaign that is fun to play through with a good story, add more and better maps and game modes and stuff. And I think people will end up being happy. But it's just, it really does seem like at this point, this could just simply be an update going forward. But they're going to obviously sell it as a brand new game when it does end up launching because it is always extremely, extremely successful. A game that some people, it's the only one that they do play, and they play it all year long. Another game that is coming onto Xbox after being surrounded by a lot of controversy in terms of why was this game not on Xbox on day one? Why was it basically delayed an entire year and coming at a year to date that to release on the PlayStation 5? Was there an exclusivity deal? Was there not? I've made different videos on this. You can go check those out to see what I think about that. But if you do want to pick up Black Myth Wukong on Xbox right now, pre-orders are up and you are going to be getting 20% launch discount for this game. So I'm happy to see that they are doing this, that they are giving a launch for a game that has already been out for a year. And with this, it brings the game's price to $47.99 on the Xbox Series X and S. This is something that I feel like with even a game like Final Fantasy 16, they should have done. The complete edition for Final Fantasy 16 is $70. I feel like there should have been a discount on that because it has already been out for a decent amount of time, and they would have sold even more copies of it. We talked about the sales of Final Fantasy 16 yesterday, and it looks like it's continuing to go up on the charts. I think that game's actually going to have decent numbers once it's all said and done, contrary to the initial reports that were going out there. All right, a big acquisition could be in the works here. Now, of course, this is all just speculation at this point, but it looks like Sony is interested in Warner Brothers games assets. We've heard so much about Warner Brothers potentially wanting to sell off some assets. There's been in the rumors for a while now, and it looks like Sony could be exploring buying Warner Brothers games. According to a new report that surfaced this week, this is according to SE Scoops, Sony is interested in buying Warner Brothers streaming and studio assets. And the assets, the report says, would include the company's HBO Max streaming service, its various IPs, and gaming assets. Specifically, here is the quote from the report. Sources said Sony was only interested in acquiring WBD streaming studio and gaming assets if they were separated from its cable networks, which have lost millions of homes as viewers abandon traditional cable packages. This would be massive when you think about the amount of IPs that WB does have. Some of the big IPs out there and right now they're actually restructuring, creating new divisions. They say based on its key gaming franchises, and the new divisions will focus on Mortal Kombat, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and DC Universe. This rumor doesn't shock me too much because if you just sit back and you take a look at the pipeline right now at PlayStation, it is lacking, it is slow. and they know they need to put more games out there from the first party perspective. So going out there and making an acquisition would be a way to do that. This is kind of what we saw happen with Xbox back in the day, where they had IPs that were strong, but they were very slow at putting them out. There was big waits for games to come out in between games that were releasing, and there people were complaining about that. And you also saw Xbox seeing that as a problem. What did they do? They went out and made acquisitions. We've seen all this talk about PlayStation building studios from the ground up, but they've also made a ton of acquisitions. You think about Bungie and then all the smaller studios that they have been acquiring. And on top of that, they've canceled so many games at this point, so many games as a service games. It's going to be years before we see more stuff coming out. Games aren't just going to be able to come out of the sky for them. They're going to have to start development from scratch, which means years of development before we see any new IPs, before we see more games coming out from all of these studios that they've acquired, that they have right now, that they've canceled games from. And maybe a way to mitigate some of that loss is to go make an acquisition and then start pumping out games from the acquisitions, and obviously making the money from the games that are currently out from those WB studios. We'll see. Again, this is just a rumor, but if it does happen, that would be a pretty big move here from Sony and from PlayStation. In terms of PlayStation games, there was an unannounced God of War Greek project that was in development at PlayStation. And if they were to have announced this game was coming out in 2025, that would have been big. And I think that would have helped people stop thinking and worrying about where are the first party PlayStation games and focus on something brand new coming out. But it looks like this one has been pushed to 2026 as well. This is via Jeff Grubb saying, I have Marathon and the unannounced new God of War Greek project, which I heard was pushed into 2026 as well. So it really does look like 2025 is only Ghost of Yotei from first party PlayStation studios. This is going on 3 years now where they've really only had one major game launching. And 2026, you have to ask yourself, are they just holding everything until 2026 where you're going to be getting a new God of War, Marathon's going to be coming out, a new Wolverine, and then other games from the studios that they do have? Because that means next year is going to be massive on both fronts, if that is the case, both on Xbox, which has been having a massive 2025, but 2026, from what we've heard at the showcase, celebrating the Xbox anniversary, is going to be huge. Then you're going to have PlayStation with a bunch of games that have been cooking for a while that could be releasing next year. Could be just an absolutely insane year from both of those platforms. And then finally, Crimson Desert. We talked about Crimson Desert yesterday in terms of the release date. Pearl Abyss is now saying that those claims are not accurate. November 2nd was the date that the game potentially was scheduled to be coming out, but Pearl Abyss here is saying that is not true. This is via reports circulating that Crimson Desert was set to release on November 2nd, and the developer clarified to Insider Gaming that the news isn't accurate. Instead, it was a translation error that caused the confusion. Insider Gaming was told that there was no interview that took place with Korean outlet MTN, and that no formal announcement of a release date was made to the outlets. And as far as when fans can expect an announcement, that remains unknown. Specifically, they say here, when the company is ready to announce a release date, it will come from official channels. So if you're, or we're hoping that November 2nd was that date, right now I would just wait. Don't expect that to be the release date. Wait until Pearl Abyss has something to say about this game. The game looks insanely ambitious. I can't wait to see more of this game, one that I definitely want to play. We actually have a breakdown here about all of the different mechanics here for Crimson Desert. It is a single player open world adventure game in a medieval high fantasy setting. It's combo based hack and slash combat. It is not a Souls like, which I'm happy about that. I like the combo based stuff better, just with the type of gameplay it brings, with me be able to actually go through with the time I have to play and get some stuff done. So I'm happy about that. It combines different buttons for more advanced combos and flashy melee attacks. Some have compared it to fighting game combos. There are stance shifts, air juggles, grapples, and contextual finishers. In practice, every brawl felt like a playground of animation chains. While the combat is deep Some previewers mentioned that the controls can be difficult with so many different button combos. You have fire, ice, and lightning magic and a ranged weapon. So there's going to be so many combinations that you're going to be able to do in terms of the combat in this game. And that's awesome. Impressive visuals with dynamic weather and time of day. You have a glider and a grapple hook. That was some of the cool stuff that we did see in the gameplay, was the gliding and just traversal through the world. Looks like it'll be awesome. You play as Cliff, a leader of a band of mercenaries known as the Greymanes. You fight against opposing groups and drive them out. There seems to be some sort of sky islands, like Tears of the Kingdom, that you can skydive from these. That was like one of the cooler things from the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where you would get into the sky. There were shrines, there were things you could go through, and then you would just jump off. That was always awesome. Resource management and base building elements, or at least some. You can fly a dragon. There are large cities and settlements with many NPCs and taverns. There are boss fights with large monster style enemies akin to The Witcher 3 or Dragon's Dogma 2, and many other confirmed mechanics that will be in this game. The one thing that I will say from the first time I saw the trailer of this game was just how many mechanics that they were showing off. And I did question a little bit whether this thing was actually going to be able to come to fruition, or was this one of those trailers that was just building up this insane hype and then it will never ever meet those expectations. But I am getting very excited to see more about this game, and hopefully we get a release date sooner than later, because it is coming out here in late 2025. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.